title of today's Devar Torah is In the Eyes of the Beholder, which refers to beauty, but we'll see that there's much more to that. There's an interesting Mishnah in Maseches Megillah that states that according to Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, a Sefer Torah must be written either only in Hebrew or in Greek, which is a very strange statement. I can understand limiting the writing of a Sefer Torah to the Hebrew language, but Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel goes even further, that they can be written in Hebrew or in the Greek language. And the Gemara tries to understand why Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel allows for the writing of a Sefer Torah into the Greek language. And the Gemara says, quoting the Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Omer af bisfarim lo hitiru shinkasu el yavanis, that with Sifrei Torah, you can write them either in Hebrew or in Greek. Amar Rabbi Avahu, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, halacha Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. That's the halacha. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, my time of Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. What is his reasoning? Because Amar Kra, because the pasuk says, Yaft Elokim liyefes v'yishkon b'ohalei Shem. This is a pasuk that Noach, the father of Shem and Yefet, uttered as a blessing to his son Yefet. Now, why did he give this blessing to his son Yefet? Because if you recall the story, when Noach became drunk and he was wallowing naked in his tent, Shem and Yefet were the two sons who respected their father, and they took a blanket and they walked in backwards so that they wouldn't see their father in his uncovered state, and covered him properly. And as a result, Noach gives a blessing to both Shem and to Yefet, and he says, Yaf Elokim liyefet, may God provide beauty, from the word Yofi, to my son Yefet, v'yishkon b'ohalei Shem, and may he dwell in the tents of Shem, who really was the leader in this activity. Shem was the one who initiated. He said, let's go take a covering for our father. And what we learn from that pasuk is, says the Gemara, Devarav shel Yefes yiyu b'ohalei Shem, that the words of Yefet, which is the Greek language, because Yavan is one of the descendants of Yefes, his words shall dwell in the tents of Shem, which teaches me that the Greek language may be associated with the Torah. So Hebrew or Greek? So the Gemara asks, but how do you know that it's Greek? There are many descendants of Yefes. Ve'ema Gomer uMagog. Gomer and Magog are also descendants of Yefes. So why can't you use their language, the Gomer language, or the Magog language? Why don't you use their language instead of just a Greek? Because the Torah, in describing Yefes, talks about beauty. And it says, may God provide beauty to Yefes. Yafyuso shel Yefes yehi be'ohalei Shem. That may the beauty of Yefes be in the tents of Shem. That's the conclusion of the discussion. What do you see from there? Rashi explains that the only language of the Japhethite people is Greek. Greek has an intrinsic beauty to it. There's an aesthetic beauty to the Greek language. And it is on that basis, says the Gemara, that we know that the blessing that Noach gave to Yefet would be referring to a future descendant who possessed an intrinsically, aesthetically beautiful language. And that's why that's how we know that the Sefer Torah can be written in Greek and not in any other kind of Japhethite family language. My Rosh Hashiva used to say, by the way, that the three sons of Noach branch out into the three races that originally started in mankind, which would mean that Yefes is the Asiatic nations. But how that translates into Greece, it's not clear. I guess we'd have to go trace the history of the Greeks. But I think that there's a very important connection to the story that we're going to read about Yoseph, because there's this idea of beauty when we talk about Yoseph as well. The Torah describes Yoseph in the very beginning of Parshas Vayeshev as someone as V'hu Na'ar, that he was but a youth. And why was Yoseph but a youth? So Rashi says, Shahaya oseh ma'aseh na'arus, that he would do acts of youthfulness. Mitakein b'sa'aro, he would constantly be fixing his hair. Mimashmesh be'einav, he'd be fixing up his eyes. Kidei sheyiyeh nir'eh yafeh, because he always wanted to look pretty. He was a pretty boy, right? He wanted to look nice, right? Wanted to look good for the ladies. And not only that, but the Torah actually describes Yosef as a very, very good-looking man. It says by the story of Potiphar, it says, Vayazov kol hashelo biyad Yosef, that Potiphar left all of his possessions in the hands of Yosef, v'lo yada ito me'uma ki im halechem asher ochel. And euphemistically, the Torah says that Potiphar trusted Yosef implicitly with everything that he had except for the bread that he ate, which is a euphemism for his wife. Vayhi Yosef yifei toar v'yifei mareh. Yosef was of beautiful appearance and beautiful comeliness. Right? And the Meforshim discuss the difference between toar and mareh, which we won't get into right now. Rashi explains on this pasuk of Vayhi Yosef yifei toar, he says, Kevin Shara Atzmo Moshel, that once Yosef emerges from the prison and he sees, emerges from his servitude and becomes a leader in his master's home, Hischil Ochel V'Shoseh U'Mesalsel B'Saro. Then Yosef basically went back to his old ways, and he started eating and drinking again and making up his hair again. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, Avicha misabel ve'ata mesalsel b'sarecha. Hashem says to him, your father is in a state of mourning for your thinking that you're dead, and you are going to play around and make do up your hair. Ani megarebecha es hadov, and as a punishment, I'm going to bring the bear, the wild animal, against you, and this is what caused Yosef's troubles. But even later on, when Yosef is thrown into prison for being falsely convicted of having attacked Potiphar's wife, even while he's in prison, the Torah talks about Yosef's beauty, but then it changes. Instead of talking about Yosef's yofi, it uses now a completely different word. A completely different word is used to describe Yosef's attractiveness. What word is that? Chen. And really what I'd like to describe or sort of build upon is this idea that there's an inherent difference between Yofi and Chen. The Torah later on says that after Yosef goes through all of these experiences, in source number 6 in Perek Lametes, Vayimtza Yosef Chen be'einav, that Yosef finds favor in the eyes of the warden of the prison, Vayesharis aso vayafkideo beiso v'chol yeshlo nasan biyado, that Yosef therefore ministers unto the warden, and the warden places him in charge of his whole house, and everything that he has he gives to him. I'm sorry, this is referring to Potiphar, the word Chen. But later on, in prison, Vayihi Hashem es Yosef vayete elav chased vayitein chino b'einei sar beis hasohar, that when Yosef is then in prison, he still has the Chen, he's able to retain the Chen in the eyes of the warden of the prison. Now, what is the difference between Chen and Yofi? The Radak explains that Chen comes from the word chanina, to grant someone a gift. And that's why whenever we find the word Chen, it's not that Vayhi li Yosef Chen, that Yosef had Chen, but rather Yosef garnered, Vayimtza, that Yosef was able to take or to find, to extract Chen from other people. Because the difference between Chen and Yofi, when you talk about a person who sees the other person that has Yofi or Chen, Yofi is something that you want to take for yourself. I see a beautiful man or woman, I want to take that beauty and take it for myself. Chen, when you see someone that has Chen, it's not interested in taking the Chen and absorbing it into myself, but that Chen becomes the object of my affection, of my giving. It's just the opposite. It's an opposite reaction to Chen. Yofi is you want to take it and embrace it, keep it for yourself. And Chen is where you want to give. That person has so becheint, has such Chen, I want to give to that person. You see, it's got the exact opposite effect. And so there's an important, that distinction makes all the difference in the world, because what did we accomplish at the time of Hanukkah? A lot of people think that Hanukkah was our time of issuing rejecting Yavan, rejecting Greece. But I think that would be an oversimplification. We didn't reject Greece. We transformed Yavan. We transformed Yavan from Yofi to Chen. Because what Greece told us, what they taught us, is that there is value to aesthetic beauty. And that's why Yefes, the original progenitor of the Greek people, couldn't bear to see his father in his degraded state, because Yefes had an appreciation for aesthetics. He knew that things that you look at have to be nice and have to be pretty. But when that appreciation for art and aesthetics is unbridled by Torah values, it becomes destructive. It becomes something that you want to consume and indulge in, instead of making it the object of giving. You want to be a taker and take the beauty for yourself. So that's what Greece, that's the contrast between Greece and Judaism. Yavan is the taker of beauty. Judaism has the same appreciation of aesthetic beauty, but instead of indulging in it as a consumable, we actually try to build aesthetics in the world and try to create more and more of it. And I think that's the significance of Hanukkah lights, the lights of Hanukkah that we're going to be celebrating on beginning Motzei Shabbos. Is the light of Hanukkah represents the radiating of a visual beauty. That's actually what we express when we talk about Neiros Hanukkah. It says, "Ve'ein lanu reshus lehishtamesh bahem ela lir'otam bilvad." What does it mean? It means that there are certain things in this world that are not just for utilitarian purposes for us to use. There are certain things that we're actually just supposed to enjoy because of their aesthetic beauty, that they provide beauty into the world. That's what the Neiros of Hanukkah represent, and what we affirm every time we say, we're not lighting these candles to use them for a purpose, we're lighting the candles to add to the beauty of the world. And that beauty radiates out into the world and generates this spiritual kind of beauty. And that's why I think that one of the ways of translating the word Chanukah is that it comes from the word Chen. The word Chen, which means a certain kind of comeliness and spiritual beauty that is the exact opposite of Yofi, but has the same kind of appreciation for aesthetics. We sometimes forget that in order to enhance our service of Hashem, we also have to enhance our appreciation for beauty in the world. Sometimes in certain frum circles, there is a frowning upon the arts, a frowning upon artistic expression, a frowning upon music, a frowning upon art, a frowning upon theater, and things like that. Now, of course, when they're not done in a kosher fashion, there's a good reason to frown upon it. But the whole idea of the arts is really what we gained from Yava. They taught us how having aesthetic beauty in the world can enhance a person's appreciation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They mishandled the idea of aesthetic beauty. And therefore, what the Gemara is trying to explain to us is that the only time that the beauty of Yefet is appropriate is when it is in the tents of Shem. When the Jewish people are able to take those ideals of aesthetic beauty and the arts and utilize it in a kosher fashion, that's when it becomes holy and a beautiful expression of worship of Hashem. So if we take music and we develop it, and we take art and we develop it, and we use that to have some sense of appreciation, I mean, the idea that you can listen to a symphony or a beautiful piece of music and be inspired, both inspired to joy or inspired to a sense of sadness at the appropriate time, those are things that actually contribute to a deeper appreciation of Hashem and His world. And if we completely reject the idea of aesthetics of the arts, then we're missing out on a vital component of the Bria of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to be able to appreciate that not everything of Yavam needs to be rejected, just like we can't reject the Sefer Torah that's written in Greek. As long as we use the Greekness and use it and harness it properly by transferring the Yofi into Chen, then we're actually going to be doing something beautiful with our lives in serving Hashem with holiness. That's what I wanted to say for today.